Welcome to Docker on Rails course. This is just an introduction to show you why you would want to run your Rails application inside a Docker container. So to set the scene up for you here, we have a client who's requested a website update on a site that you worked about 6 months ago. You also got a new laptop since then, so you have everything installed like Ruby and Rails, but not the application. So this is our example application, and we're just going to clone it and copy it down to our system. Now, just to give you a little background, this is a test application, and usually the READMEs, the bad READMEs don't tell you actually how to set up the application as a developer. And in this case, I wasn't thinking about 6 months ago, and so I now regret that. But let's just give it a go. We're just going to go into the application, and we're going to do bundle install like any new application. And we're just going to, I already had some of the gems on my system, but as I tried to install the Postgres gem, it failed. And that's because I actually don't have Postgres installed. So I'm going to use brew and install Postgres. And so we're just going to fast forward through this process. Okay, so Postgres is now installed on my system, so I can do again bundle install and continue installing the gems. Okay, so once we are up and running, we're just going to do Rails server and see what happens. So we're going to go to localhost 3000, and that's right, our Postgres is actually not running, so I'm going to open a new terminal. So to figure out how to start it, we're just going to ask brew how to get it going, and we'll fire it up here. And so now it says it started. We're going to reload. And all right, we don't have a database. So we're going to do rake db create. And now we have some migrations. So we want to migrate. So now we reload. And perfect. And so now we have what seems to be like a working application. So that's quite the amount of steps to figure out how to get it going. Okay, so now we're going to look at it if I did it with Docker on Rails and how I would go about to start the project. So this is our folder, and if we look at it, we have our application and everything, our database, but we also have additional files. We have a Docker file and a Docker Compose file. So because we're using Docker Compose, I'm just going to say Docker Compose up. And you can see here, I'm just going to jump back to the top. You can see here we have Postgres starting up and our application. Postgres is booting up. Our application starting to run some initialization, including setting up Nginx, checking that the database is up. And you can see here it says, it seems like Postgres is still booting, so we're going to wait 3 seconds. And Postgres is continuing its booting process. Our application still checks whether it's up and running, and it is not. And so here we can see Postgres is ready to go. Our application checks that it is up and going and continues by doing the migrations. Now, doing the migrations, it's actually missing the gems, so it's building those gems on our behalf. Now, the beautiful thing in this example is these gems are being built inside the Docker container, meaning the dependencies like Postgres or any other dependencies are actually built into that Docker container. So my machine can be bare. I can even not have Ruby installed, and this will still continue to work. Okay, so now you can see that our gems are installed. It is then continuing on to preparing the database. It creates those database tables, runs the migration, and then it basically restarts the application for serving. So if I were to go to localhost 3000 again, and there you have it, our application. We can test that it works, and very similar. Now the difference is I don't actually have to have Ruby on Rails installed on my system, or Ruby or Postgres or anything. It's all done for you through Docker. Now I had the Postgres image on my computer, so it didn't have to download it, but if I didn't, it would have gone onto the interwebs and actually gotten the Postgres version that I needed to get the application started. So the difference is, one way you have to figure out what you're doing. Docker does a lot of the base work for you, and you can just jump in and start developing. Hopefully you found this interesting, and if you're interested in learning more about Docker on Rails, feel free to go to DockerOnRails.com and sign up for the newsletter and get information about the course that we'll be putting on in the new year. Good luck to you, and have a good day.